There are these Saptati Sahasra Nāḍī. So that means there are thousands of Nāḍīs, and among them only 72 Nāḍīs becomes more important. And from 72 we came down to 10 Nāḍīs. And from 10 again we came down to 3. And from 3 finally we come down to 1. We have discussed these points systematically in the last class. So now he wants to give the name of the 10 Nāḍīs. 26. Ida cha Piṅgalā chaiva Suṣumnā cha Tritiyaka Gāndhārī Hastijihvā cha Pūṣā chaiva Yaśasvinī Alambusā Kuhuḥ chaiva Śaṅkhinī dasami smrutā Etanāḍīmayam chakram Gyātavyam Yogis sada. So he gives all these names starting with Ida, Piṅgalā, Gāndhārī, Hastijihvā, Pūṣā, Yaśasvinī, Alambusā, Kuhuḥ and Śaṅkhinī. Also this we have discussed in the last class. Continuing. Ida vāmi sthitā bhāge Piṅgalā dakṣiṇe sthitā Suṣumnā madhyadeshe tu Gāndhārī vāmachakṣuṣī Dakṣiṇe Hastijihvā ca Pūṣā karne ca dakṣiṇe Yaśasvinī vāmakarne Hyanane chāpyalambusā Kuhuṣ lingadese tu Mūlasthāne ta Śaṅkhinī Evam dvaram samāśritya Tishthanti dasanādyaha Nāḍayaha. Says, look, if you look at the location of Ida Nāḍī, generally is in the left side of the body. But we made it very clear. Left side of the body generally from the above navel region. So leg is different, that we have discussed in details. Whereas a Piṅgalā dakṣiṇe sthitā. So these are the, we call Guru Jnana. Unless you are with the teacher, these variations you will not be able to understand. So if you look at the text, okay, Ida, so whole body is, left side is called Ida, not necessarily. However, secondly says that Piṅgalā dakṣiṇe sthitā. So the Piṅgalā is located in right side of the body. Whereas Suṣumnā madhyadeshe tu. So Suṣumnā is in between. That's why Suṣumnā keeps moving. So it goes to, we say, goes to left, right. So make sure in the spine it keeps moving. So that is what they say very nicely. If you look at, in fact, this medical science, what they call as modern science, they only have copied and destroyed. And they have copied this Ida, Piṅgalā and Suṣumnā concept. So what is their logo? Have you ever observed? Serpent and a tree keeps moving. So they have just copied this Ida, Piṅgalā and Suṣumnā concept. And they call that they are the modern. Can you see this point? However, coming to the point here, that Gāndhārī Vāmachakshushi. So the Gāndhārī, this Nāḍī, is related to left eye. And in fact, when this left eye starts, flickering, because of this Gāndhārī prāṇa is that Gāndhārī Nāḍī is not active. That's why if you change it, things will change. However, let us not get into today different mode, or else we cannot complete. Then comes definitely, and here Gāndhārī when left eye, Hastijihvā is related to right eye. Dakshine Hastijihvā cha, and Pūṣā karne cha dakshine. So Pūṣā is associated with right ear, Yaśasvinī Vāmakarne, left ear, and Alambusā, Anane. So Alambusā is connected to mouth. And because it is connected to mouth, so we also say it is also connected to digestion too. Kuhuḥ lingadesetu. So Kuhuḥ is located in the genital organ, and Śaṅkhinī happens to be Mūlasthāne, means Mūladhara chakra, located in Mūladhara chakra. And says nicely, evam dvara samasritya tishtanti dasan adayah. So they themselves, being located in their respective place, they continuously do their job. And thank God. Or else what will happen. It is like, security fellow. So you in charge someone to guard the place. What that fellow does? So very nicely, in India, goes for BD, okay, cigarette, okay? Goes for this, that. And right time when you look for security will not be available. However, these people or these Nāḍīs cannot do that, because wherever they are, that they maintain it. In fact, if they agree with each other, the prāṇa vayu goes away. In fact, they are not supposed to agree with each other. In fact, these Britishers learned from this trick, okay? Divide and rule policy. Never keep people together, okay? This is my version, okay? Don't attribute this thing. Continuing. Ida Piṅgalā Suṣumnā prāṇamarge samasritā satatam prāṇavāhinyah soma suryāgni devatā. So, as we have discussed that from thousands of Nāḍīs 72, from 72 came down to 10, 10 to 3. Now we have come down to 3. So what are they? Ida, Piṅgalā, Suṣumnā. And interestingly, this Ida, Piṅgalā, Suṣumnā that we saw, left, right and middle. So they happens to be prāṇamarge samasritā. So they happens to be the principal Nāḍīs. So main Nāḍīs. And they are connected to carrying the vital energy, the prāṇa. And because they are carrying, so also they have to be associated with the deity. Because only when we bring the deity, then only the prāṇa will be connected to higher. And interestingly, for us, every object, every entity or anything that we see is related to deity. Because without bringing the deity, the life is not complete. Again, I am saying it very carefully. Without bringing the deity in day-to-day life, forget relating, the life is not complete. Why? Because when I don't bring the deity in my life and I start living my life, I become mechanical. Not only I become mechanical, I compete, I try to prove, I get beaten up, I get frustrated, bored, elated. Finally, what happens? I completely lose my interest in my living and life. Somewhere I get disoriented. That's why present generation, they have everything. Because they don't relate with the deity, they get bored at their early age. Whereas older generation, those who do not relate to the deity, because to achieve for them takes a long time, okay? Only they get bored when they become 60, 70. So then they think, they attribute, because of my age, I don't find any interest. You understand? So poor age is blamed. Whereas when we bring deity in my life, I relate with my deity. Every object is related to deity. Like we say Griha, Griha Lakshmi, Griha Pravesham in the house case. So I take care of the house. It is not my house, I can do whatever I want. Please understand. After all, it is my house, I can do whatever I want. It's not allowed. Even though it is your house, remember, there is a deity. So here we bring that also these three Nāḍīs, principal Nāḍīs called Ida, Piṅgalā and Suṣumnā, they have their deities. And they are called very nicely Soma, Surya and Agni. So Ida is connected to Soma, Chandra, moon. Piṅgalā is connected to Surya, sun. And Suṣumnā is connected to Agni, the fire god. Now when these three are connected, so then what we do is, we make sure that if my Nāḍīs are weaker, not able to carry prāṇa properly, accordingly I have to handle the situation. Relating with the deity will make my Nāḍī stronger. Because if we observe, as I said, any problem that is in my body, as we look through the lens of yoga, yoga highlights when prāṇa is imbalanced, different type of diseases takes place. So it is all about balancing prāṇa, nothing else. Which medical science, balancing chemicals. Whereas in Ayurveda, it says balancing these doshas, kapha, vata and pitta. And of course, naturopathy will say balancing the nature, 5 elements. Whoever, whatever may talk, but and homeopathy will say addressing your psychological being. Very nice concept to observe. Each, schools do talk differently. So here when you say balancing prana, that means in my nadi, some nadis are not functioning. That's why for any disease, any chronic disease, I would rather say, the basic thing to be done is nadi suddhi. To make sure that all my nadis are purified or getting purified. So when the nadis are getting purified, especially if you look at those days, all these pipes, all of you know this, water carrying pipes, especially this, this pipe life span is 20 years. After 20 years, the pipes are supposed to be changed. The water, those carries. Why? Because it will start, in between that will become, this thing corroded, and not only that, so it will be so bad inside you cannot think of. Okay, they extend 20, 30, 40, how many years. And interestingly, if you don't use, at least if water is continuously going, you can assume 20 years no problem. Suppose water goes very less, namesake. How many years it will stand? You understand the concept? Same thing also the nadi. If the energy is flowing properly, nadi will not have any issue. Whereas if the energy does not flow properly, definitely all sort of problem comes. That's why this healing concept comes from this nadi. So you can do the self-healing or somebody can heal for you too. It is acceptable. Because where they take care of the nadi aspect. That's why, especially when we get this massage, even though physically they touch the body or veins or whatever, so there what happens, there some energy changes, nadi also starts becoming better if they know proper job. So coming back here, he says, look, this nadi is to be taken care so that I am healthy. And he says, look, how these nadis are responsible in which area? Prāṇa purvamukhe nityam, apāna paschime smrutah, samano navideshetu, udana kanṭhamadhyagah, vyāno vyāpi shariresu, pradhānah pañcavāyavah, prāṇādyah pañcavikhyāta, nāgādyah pañcavāyavah. Says very nicely that if you look at prāṇah purvamukhe nityam, continuously, the prana moves purvamukha, forward. That's why that becomes the cause of inhalation. So always it is ahead. And continuously. Imagine one day he agrees or he wants to take rest. No more I will do inhalation, okay? I am tired. Day, night. How is it? Will it be nice or not? Huh? So he will be your best friend, okay? When you become lazy, he also wants to be lazy. How it would be? However, if that fellow becomes lazy, then everybody will become busy. How to dispose the body, okay? Or call the ambulance, whatnot, all these things, okay? However, Prana purvamukhe nityam. Apana paschime smrutah. So apana is related to completely opposite to prana. So that's why it is related to elimination, or you can say exhalation, excretion, elimination and exhalation. So that's why in short we say prana inhalation, apana exhalation in short. Sometimes we say prana up, apana down. So these are the variations in different context. We do talk differently. And interestingly, he says, look, Suṣumnā, that, I made a mistake, prāṇa, apāna, because Nāḍī is gone. Then comes samāna nāvideshetu. So this is samāna. Samāna Vayu is located in naval region. And interestingly, because of samāna, all our digestion and assimilation takes place. So anytime my digestion does not happen, I am not able to assimilate. That means there is samana vayu problem. They say very nicely, one Swami was saying very nicely, if a person is not able to not only digest food, not able to digest others' words, that means there is samana vayu problem. Very nicely, long back I had heard, because that time it took long time for me to understand. That's really true. So, if you are not able to assimilate physically, verbally, including astrally, okay, that means your samana vayu is weak. However, samana, he says, samana navideshetu uddana kanthamadhyagaha. So uddana vayu is nowhere but in our this throat region. And because it is a throat region, remember, it is connected to not only speech, also when the prāṇa vayu goes, that also helps. Uddhikarana. We'll see some other context. Very nice context comes. And vyānaha vyapi sariresu. So this vyāna is completely surrounded or spreaded all over body, and of course because of vyāna our blood circulation happens. So if your body starts paining here and there, that means vyāna problem. And not only that, he says, okay, already gone. Samana, Vyāna, Udana, already you have seen. Vyāna, Vyapi Sariresu, Pradhana Panchavayavaha. So these are the 5 primary Vayus. So who are they? Prāṇa, Apāna, Samana, Udana and Vyāna. So prāṇa, you can say in short, inhalation upward. Now apāna, backside, exhalation, you can say downward. Then comes samana. Samana becomes navideshe, on your navel region, which is cause for your food digestion and assimilation. Udana happens to be in your throat region, your speech, and also that you do vomiting, udgikarana, all these things, that is because of that region. And finally, Vyāna, that pervades all over body, entire body. Because of that region, circulation takes place. Is it clear? So these are the very simplest way to remember these 5 prāṇas. Now, of course, we have another 5. So, who are they? Quickly, Naga, Kurma, Krikara, Devadatta and Dhananjaya. So interestingly, this Naga, Kurma, Krikara and Devadatta and 9 prāṇa vayus continues till the person alive, except Dhananjaya. Dhananjaya continues after the death of person. Continuing. Udgare naga akshataha. kurma unmilane smrutaha krukaraha ksutakruj gyeyaha devadatto vijrumbhane. So udgare naga akshataha. So this naga vayu is responsible for bleaching, udgarana. Kurma unmilane smritaha. So the blinking the eyes happens. You are able to open the eyes, close the eyes because of kurma. Krikara krutkuj geyaha kshut geyaha. So krikara is responsible for hunger. Devadatta vijrumbhane. So Devadatta is related to or connected to sleep, okay? Earning. Hope you will not do in the class, okay? So I will not allow your Devadatta to take over. Continuing. Najahati mrutam chapi sarvavyapi dhananjaya ete sarvasu nadishu brahmante jiva rupini. He says, don't worry, Dhananjaya Vayu is something, is sarvavyapi. It is all pervading in the body. Don't say all pervasive, okay? All pervasive, okay? Not that way. So in the body, it is all pervasive. Everywhere Dhananjaya is there. Then what happens? He says, look, interestingly, na jahati mrutam cha api. Even if a person is dead, means all Vayus have agreed to leave. Enough, we are done. But Dhananjaya does not leave. So that fellow stays back for some more time, few hours. And that's why the body is fresh. Remember, the warmth of the body after death, the freshness of the body of the jiva individual, because of Dhananjaya. That's why sometimes you see the dead body, say, oh, he's alive. Also, when you touch the body, some warmth will be there. It is warm. It is because of Dhananjaya. That's why we say technically, the moment Dhananjaya leaves, we are supposed to cremate the body. We are not allowed to keep body 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, according to the convenience of the children. Actually, somehow this concept started, I am sorry to bring this concept point, somehow this concept started from Christianity. Now, this has spreaded all over the world without any religion, caste, creed, bar. Because what they did in Christianity especially, because for the prayer, mass prayer, because Sunday, and of course you know the rich people, they would prefer their body to be in the church, because churches are nothing but, don't forget, this is called a burial ground, okay? If you go to any ancient church, how many dead bodies you will find, you do not know. So the mass prayer and everything will be done on Sunday. So what they do is they started postponing. And because of all these things, how they did, why they did, let us not get into. Now this virus, I would rather say this is virus, has entered everywhere. The rule is very clear, I would like to highlight, which I had seen in my childhood too. For example, if the person passes away in the afternoon, before sunset, the dead body must be taken away from the home. If it is towards evening, then the dead body will be taken away in the first hour of evening. And if it is in the evening after sunset, the dead body must be taken away before sun rises. And of course, even if the person dies, let us say 4 o'clock, in fact 4 o'clock they consider next day, sometimes after Brahma Muhurta, just before Brahma Muhurta, around 3:30, if the person is passing away, they will make sure before sun rises, the dead body has to be taken away. Cannot be kept in the home. And of course, in the daytime, early morning or any time is person no more, they have to make sure before sunset, body has to be cremated. So the concept was this, that till Dhananjaya is there with the person, so we do all rituals so that the jiva gets benefited, because still prana is connected. Even though all other pranas are hovering, that is what he highlights. Ete sarvasu nāḍīsu brahmante jiva rupini. Tomorrow class we will see in details. So in these nadis, the jiva keeps traveling. In fact, jiva is restless. In fact, jiva individual is not visible because it keeps traveling in all the nadis, keeps moving, and it moves in such a way, fastest way, not visible at all. Now when all the 9 Vāyus, they have decided to leave, especially prāṇa and apāna, they are the main factor with the support of samana, and they could manage to pull other 2, then along with them also they managed other 4, 9 went away. Now Dhananjaya remains. So when Dhananjaya remains, so all the post rituals that are being done to Dhananjaya, in fact we don't do anything to the dead body, because dead body has no value for us. Very nicely, one Swamiji from Uttarkashi said, somebody asked, Maharaj, after you passes away, what is to be done to you with your body? Shall you make a bhu samadhi or jala samadhi, or what samadhi we should do? He said, hey look, when this fellow dies, when this fellow leaves this body, hey, kick that body. Why are you asking me? Just kick. Because if this fellow has gone, what is the purpose of that body? That body has no value. That's why I had shared with you this cultural aspect of Puri king, how they follow. Whether they understand the truth or not, don't ask me. But what they follow, that aspect. Long back I had discussed with you all. So however, when the rituals, that post-death rituals, the antima samskara, that we do, that which is supposed to be done to Dhananjaya. And when it is done to Dhananjaya, then what happens? All other prāṇas are getting benefited. Or else what will happen? We will be doing, these poor fellows will be hanging around. And definitely, that's why we assume the person is a preta. That's why we do preta karma. So preta means the one who is not interested to go prakarshana gata itatvat, ita gatatvat. Because forcefully the person has left the body. So what we call as in short ghost, unwanted jiva. So that's why these 10 Vāyus are important for us. More of it we'll see. Om